Hello my friends, happy Thursday. I'm in my sewing room and it is sewing day today, and since my friends ain't gonna get here until a little bit later, I thought I would take the time to show you how I'm gonna make the mushroom block for my sister's witch quilt here behind me. And I already have a couple of these done, and these are just so fun and really cute. And these are just made out of fabric samples that I had bought from the closeout quilt shop that I had went to here I guess it was about 2 weeks ago. So I've already made 2 of them, and these are really simple and really cute. These are 6-inch, well, they're 6.5 unfinished. So when they finish, they'll be 6-inch blocks. And I've already got pieces cut for a whole bunch more. And these are so fun and cute, and they came out of the Lori Holt book, Scrappiness is Happiness, and they are on page 20, and it walks you through. They're really simple. I can't give you the dimensions because this is out of the Lori Holt book, so you'll have to get the book yourself. I don't represent Lori Holt or her books, but I am her biggest fan. So and it is my dream goal maybe one day to meet her farm girl to farm girl. But anyway, I love her books and I utilize them all the time. If you watch this video channel, you'll know that I do a lot with her books and blocks and different things, and I have all these amazing ideas that I think are really cute. I really love these mushrooms because I am a huge polka dot fan and I love the stripes. So these were in some samples that I had gotten out of the sale that I had went to a couple of weeks ago. And when I put these on here, I've got blocks enough to cut up for 6, and I think I'm going to stagger them up and down along the bottom of this quilt. But I just really wanted to kind of bring you in and show you how simple these are to make. So I'm gonna move the camera down and I'm gonna walk you through on how simple these blocks are. And I probably should fire up my Juki as well. And I'm gonna move you down so you can see how I put these cute little blocks together. It's too early in the morning and I've only had 1 cup of coffee. So I'm gonna do this one here, this one, and I have all the pieces cut individually. And if you can visualize this, you could almost do this in any size block if you want to play or something, but I'm just gonna show you how simple these are. Here's another polka dot fabric that I had. This is my favorite color, green, and it has some large and small. Just really, really simple to do. So I'm gonna start off with these little blocks here, and I'm going to sew these diagonally on each side of the top of the mushroom cap. So this is gonna go together really quick. And I know somebody said I don't do enough sewing here, so all right, I figured I'd bring you in for a sewing video. Ooh, and make sure I get this the right way. From one end to the other, not down toward the middle. So you wanna have a starting and stopping point. I have some seam guide tape on my Juki, which helps me a lot. So I just line up my corners on the seam tape and I just zip them across. Now I didn't get that one exactly straight, so I'm gonna go back in and hit it again. Like I said, it's morning yet and I'm not quite ready, so I got that one right. And then just keep that corner along that middle red line and they'll line right up. And I always check them and fold them over to make sure that they line up and they look pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my scissors and I'm just gonna cut off this back corner because we don't need all that excess. I have a little garbage can here, so I just kind of trim these off and cut the threads. And there I go. So you can see I've already cut off that back part. So now I can just flip this forward and you'll see that I have the top of my mushroom cap. And I need to plug in my iron real quick too and get that hot because I'm gonna need to press these. So now for the bottom of the mushroom cap, I have these tiny little squares. These are really tiny. And they're about 3/4 of an inch square, but they give your mushroom shape on the bottom part. And this is the same thing. I'm gonna sew from corner to corner. They go on really quick. And then I'm gonna cut the back part off. And I didn't get that one very straight either. I'm off. Sometimes I veer off. So I just go back in and hit it again, and then I got it, and I check it to make sure that they fold over pretty decent. That one's a little sketchy, but we're gonna let it pass. So I'm gonna cut off them little back corners. And just like that. Someone on the floor. So now what I'll do when my iron gets heated up, I will press my mushroom cap, and you'll be able to see that it has shape, and then the bottom here, the little corners just kind of, you know, narrow it out a little bit. So my next step would be to put the sides on this, but I'm gonna press it. So I'm going to work on my mushroom stem. I have two more these little tiny squares, and I'm going to I'm gonna put them on the corner of the bottom of the stem in each corner. And then I'm going to sew them on diagonally with my diagonal seam tape. I'm not awake this morning. I want to do it the wrong way. Like, there's nowhere to go. And I gotta make sure that both sides line up with my square so it's on there nice and straight, because I do not like to seam rip. I think that's everybody's peeve, is nobody wants to seam rip. So there I have my little corners on. I'm gonna fold them down, check them, make sure that they fall right into place. I'm gonna trim that back part off. And to the other one, okay. And there I have the bottom of my stem, so that gives the stem a little bit of shape to it. It'll come together more as I press these down. So if my iron is hot, let's see, it's moving up. And I'll take you over here to my iron so I don't leave you hanging there. So you can see my ironing board. Get this camera to go. Okay, there we go. I am just gonna press the stem and the mushroom cap so that the corners lay down nice and flat. So iron should be hot. And it's going to press the two little bottom corners so that they lay down. I got a few threads there on the side that I didn't get cut, so I'll have to trim them off. But even after you get this all sewed together, you'll have to kind of square it up, because things do get a little askew. Not much. The first two I made, I barely had to trim. They go together pretty easy. This is a pretty simple block, but it's just really fun. And the thing with the Lori Holt books too is you don't have to be cookie cutter to do her books. You can do your own, you can do your own colors. That's what makes it so fun. So now you can see my mushroom cap, and there's my stem. So now we just gotta fill in with our background fabric, and this thing will be done. So what I would need to do is I'm going to put on the bottom of my stem. So this is the bottom of my mushroom cap. And I'm gonna just place that right along the bottom here and make sure everything gets lined up. And I'm just gonna stitch that on. And I'll probably need to hit this with the iron so you can kind of see that kind of finishes off the mushroom there. And then I've got these two side pieces that go on the mushroom stem. Get them apart. So this is all the background fabric that I'm just filling in with. So I am just gonna put this on one side of my stem and line it up. And I can already see that it's probably gonna need a little bit of trimming, maybe, I don't know. And then we're gonna stitch that on 1/4 of an inch. And open that up, and I'm gonna finger press it down. And on the other side of my stem, up, and there is the bottom part of my mushroom, and then these two pieces here just go along the side of the cap. So I'm going to sew these on, And then we will sew the cap to the stem, and I will trim it, and we will have a cute little mushroom. So there's one side, and then we're gonna put one on the other side. Okay, so as you can see, so I've got these seam allowances going out on the bottom. So I've got the two sides. Well, this it wouldn't matter because they're not going to line up. Okay, so I guess it doesn't matter which way, however you want your seam allowances to go. I don't know why I'm thinking that they were going to line up, but they're not. So I really need to hit these with the iron so that they lay nice and flat, and then I can put these two pieces together. So let's go back over to the ironing board, and I will press these down nice and flat. Okay, and that's the stem. So it doesn't matter which way you press your seam allowances. I don't know why, I was thinking they line up because they don't line up. And on one side of this, I can see where my triangles kind of come over the top. So I can show you this. Sometimes your fabric stretches or they don't get that corner just right. So I can just take my rotary cutter and just trim that up. And this will finish, well, it will be 6.5 when you build it. And then it finishes at 6 inches once you sew it in. So I might need to square it up just slightly, as I said. So let's move back over here and down to the sewing machine. Maybe a little bit more. There, okay. I'm not the best cameraman. And just like that, we have a cute little mushroom, and I want to figure out which way this one wants to go. It seems like it wants to go down, so I'm going to let it go down. And there we have it, a cute little mushroom. Is this not really sweet? So you're going to have to get you a Lori Holt Scrappiness is Happiness. You can make these in 6.5 or 12.5 unfinished, and they're really fun. I love the polka dot feel. I love the stripes for the stems. These are great for little pieces, scraps, and you can throw them in little blocks for quilts and just make something really whimsical and fun. So I've got a few more to go here. I've got an orange with some polka dots. I'll just kind of show you what I got. And if you would like, I can go through one more. There is a pink. This one here, I didn't have enough of this color, so I pieced one together, which it's not really noticeable. There is a seam on this one, but I thought I'm gonna throw it in there anyway, and I could always throw a little bug or something on this to kind of deter off from, you know, the seam if it really bothers you. But I just wanted something polka dotty, and I wanted 6 of them. So yeah, if you don't have enough fabric and you got scraps and they're just not quite the right measurements that you need, I just pieced 2 together. And you know, like I said, there's a little seam in here, but it won't be really noticeable, especially after it's quilted. But it's a great way to like find a little piece of scrap of fabric that's got a little butterfly on it, or a bug, or I don't know, whatever you want to put on there, even a flower. I don't know, gotta use your imagination. But that's just a really fun thing to do with that one. And of course, all of the mushrooms I did, there was 2 different colored stripes, so I just kind of rotated them, you know, one and the other, and then the other and then the other. So you know what I mean. So anyway, I'll throw one more of these together just to kind of give you the feel and let you see how I do this. So it's just really fun. And I know I've had some comments that I guess maybe I don't show enough sewing. Sometimes watching somebody sew I feel is a little bit boring, but maybe not. But this is what I do in my spare time when I have time. is I try to work on my own things, because once everybody starts coming this morning, I don't really sew, because I help other people, you know, with their projects and help them learn to sew. Although a couple of my friends are a little more advanced and they're quicker learners than others, so we all learn at our own pace. But this is what I love to do. This is my passion, and I love creating little picture blocks such as this, and I'm just really excited to get this quilt done. It's for my sister, and she's going to love it. But the thing about sewing and having mixture of fabrics and scraps is it's almost like you're an artist. You're like painting a picture, I guess. It's the way I see it in my mind, is, you know, that I am making something in my mind that I know I can see, and it's just making it come to life. So there are my little corners on. That one's not quite perfect, but even if you're a little off and it's not much, you got a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So a lot of that will get caught in the seam allowance. Now see, that one's perfect. So I don't sweat it too much if it's not exactly perfect. Close enough is good enough. So, ooh, I'm stealing from the wrong blocks, maybe not. Okay, no, I'm right. I was thinking, okay, so this one, these two little ones got to go on the stem, and then I'll cut all these off and we'll get it put together. I feel like when I get started in the sewing, I have to kind of get warmed up. Like the sewing machine, you got to get it warmed up. Get everything going. Okay, so there's my little bottom stem corners on. And I'm just going to fold them over, and they fit. So I'm going to trim these off real quick and try to get all the threads. And I'll need to press those and press this one. Now, when you're trimming these, you want to make sure you leave you about a 1/4 inch seam allowance when you cut your back part off, because you don't want to get too close to those threads, because then it's going to come all undone and it won't be pretty. Okay, so let me press these and over to the sewing machine, over to the ironing board, and I will press these down so that they're nice and flat. And if you can all see, I'm using the Black & Decker iron here. If you've been watching, you know that I had a blowout on my second Aliso iron, and I've called them and sent it back, so I'm expecting a new one any day. But I told Jim, I was like, I'm almost nervous to use it because I've already had 2 bad irons, and it's kind of scary to think that, you know, I've had 2 irons and they both burn out on me. So, okay, let's get this finished up. So I've got the cap and the mushroom, or the cap and the stem, and now I'm just gonna add in the background fabric, and we'll have another cute little mushroom to put up on my board. So there is the bottom of the stem. Get that, and then we're gonna put on the 2 sides of the stem. I just love these. They're so simple and quick to make. And I cut all of the pieces up. Prep takes the longest, but I cut up all the pieces for 6 of them to do. And then when I sat down and started doing them, I'm like, wow, they go together so fast. And they're just so cute. They're just super cute. I just love them. So fun to make these. You could make you a whole little garden of mushrooms and put in some butterflies and, I don't know, maybe some trees. flowers or, you know, forest. I don't know. It's where you got to kick in your imagination, but I'm like, these would be just so cute to put into a quilt. I said here in my last video, I wanted to make an owl quilt, and I might throw some mushrooms in that, because in the panel there was some mushrooms, and I think in some of the fabrics that I bought had mushrooms in it and tree stumps and stuff, and these would be cute with some polka dot fabrics and some colors and maybe some stripes. I mean, this is just something that I pulled out of the sample box that I had gotten from that quilt shop that was closing up. And I tell everybody, I love little pieces because this is my jam, is making stuff like this that just makes some really fun projects. I love the colors and putting them together. And people always overthink color, you know, and about things matching, but it always comes together for me, I think. I love scrappy colors. It makes a happy, bright, and really fun quilt to make. So let's go back over to the ironing board. I'm going to press these down. Get them nice and flat. Finger press them down so they lay a little bit. Make them behave. Okay, and now they're ready to put together. So, let's see, back over here. Whoops, I'm giving you a tour of the room. Back over here, and then, I don't know if you can see my sister's quilt. Of course, I'll have to trim this one up, but this one here would probably go down here because there's two different kind of stripes and I want to stagger them. So I'm going to make one go down, one up, one down, up, and go all across the bottom of her quilt to make it really cute. And you can see how colorful this is. All of this color goes. And the main piece was the witches, and how I have pulled out these colors out of these. You know, I've got purples and oranges and greens and yellows and blues, you know, and it just all goes. Even the pinks, you know, then the pink lips, you know, to the broom, to the cat. I mean, it's all really, really fun to put colors together. So, okay, so we got my little mushroom here, and we're just now gonna put him together. So turn this around, and I don't know if you're new here and you notice how I sew. I am an inside sewer. I've explained that a lot because being single-handed, it's easier for me to control my putting my fabric in on the inside of the throat because I have control over it and I can hold it better with my right hand. So most people sew on the outside. I sew on the inside because it's easier for me and I have complete control and I can keep it lined up. So, and I know if there's people out there, you know, with both your hands that do this too. But this is just the way I've done it, and this is how I feel comfortable. So there is another cute little mushroom. I just love these things. I could make a whole quilt of these. They're just fun, and I would love to do it in like polka dots in different colors. So I hope this gives you an idea of how to use your imagination. Use the Lori Holt books. They are like tools to me, and there are so many good blocks and ideas. Use your own colors. You don't have to be a copycat, and make something really fun and whimsical. I mean, it's just, you can do so much with these books. I just love them. So I give you a little sewing visual out here. Sorry, I can't give you the sizes, but if you experimented, I'm sure you could come up with something similar. Only that because her books, you know, I don't want to give away the patterns of her books because they are for sale and you can find them on Amazon or online. Great books. So every time she comes out with a book, I buy it. I just love it. I love the blocks. So I hope you enjoyed this little video of how to make these whimsical little mushrooms, and meet me back here again for whatever's happening in the sewing studio here, because there's always something going on. I just sometimes don't always have time to get it uploaded and out there, but I thought I would take the time this morning before everybody comes because it's going to be a busy day today. So I will chat at you later. Thanks for watching, and join me back here again soon, okay? Love you. Bye.